That's what Kyle might have done with the money. Now, Steve, there's a lot to go through with this, and this is good because this is the sort of content that I can get involved with. What are the rumors about Kyle ripping off a church?
Oh, well, okay. So, that actually is true. It's not a rumor. He was convicted as a felon for breaking entering of a church. And then he was on probation, and then he got busted with cocaine on his probation. That sent him back, and he spent 2 years in prison for that.
Kyle spent 2 years in prison?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you know this before or after getting in bed with him?
Well, first of all, I did know that before, but I've never been in bed with him.
No, I mean in the financial sense. I don't mean in that way. I mean he's an attractive man, but I wouldn't go there either. Now he dresses terribly. Now so this was known before. Okay, so and what did he do to the church? He broke in, he smashed some shit up and stole money.
I don't know what he stole.
We can infer a principle here, which is never stick your 50-50 in crazy, right?
Never stick your perpetuity in crazy.
You guys are fucking with me. That's good. Thank you.
Now, the next question would be, how fucked is Kyle when you win this case? Like, what happens to him?
Okay, so the judge itself, what he wants to do is this. This guy's smart. He decided to have a deposition for Kyle because of the opposing affidavits between the ones he had submitted a year ago and the ones he submitted just recently, and then also his ex-boyfriend's affidavits. And so he wanted Kyle to go under oath with two witnesses because that raises it from just a false statement to a perjury charge, straight up perjury. And he lied under oath, completely lied under oath in his deposition. He told the lawyers that he had the August statement that he'd be turning over to his lawyer. He told the lawyers that he had the original rental agreement. So the judge said this, okay, if you have these documents, you have until November 5th, 5 o'clock Eastern to turn them over. Now, if he doesn't, they're going to turn this over to the DA and say, look, he said he has these documents. He doesn't have them. We have a witness saying that they're forged signatures. And we have additional evidence that he has submitted false and misleading changed evidence to the court. So I think he's going to be prosecuted on 2 counts of felony forgery, multiple counts of felony perjury, and multiple counts of felony submission of altered evidence to the court.
Oh, I imagine that's quite a crime if you've already got a previous felony as well, right? I mean,
especially in North Carolina because they factor in previous felonies. He's looking at Class I and Class F felonies.
Is that years of his life will be taken away?
Maximum. Okay, well, let's be realistic here. We all know how the judicial system kind of works. If he was looking at 5 to 10 years at max, yes. This judge has told him he's not playing around. This judge has told him he's going to hold him extremely accountable. Yeah. But the DA doesn't want to go to court. They know this. We know this. I think they would probably offer him a plea deal and say, look, do 5 years and we'll be done. So if he got 3 to 5 years, I'm okay with that. It's worth it to me. He needs to go to jail. He stole $60,000, took my channel, lied to people for a year and a half now, denigrated my character, denigrated my
jail for that?
He just lied about it. Well, you can't go to jail for defamation, but he can sure go to jail for submitting false evidence to the court, perjury, and forgery.
Right. I imagine that's quite a big one. Now, what do you think he did with the money? Do you think it was drugs or
off the record?
Yeah, off the record. I think he was.
It's probably what you think it is.
So he was. What I liked was that when you would watch your streams, there was quite a difference between your streaming conditions and his. He was like popping up with new backgrounds every week, a fresh suit, coiffed hair, a new laptop in the background, a $2,000 microphone. The guy was spending it on shit, but he probably blew half of that up his nose. If
I can neither confirm nor deny. But it's probably what you think it is.
He's driving around in a Hellcat all of a sudden. He's just like fucking.
Well, here's the thing, though. Look, the funniest part is this. I was only suing him for $30,000, and that got trebled. So now it's $90,000. Plus now it's going to be additional punitive damages and probably forecasted damages, I'm hoping, and plus court costs. He's looking at $150,000 probably nominally, right? Which is non-dischargeable debt because you can't claim bankruptcy for fraud or fraudulent conversion, which he did. So these are non-dischargeable debts. They're good for 10 years, 8% simple interest. But we were thinking, okay, he may get a few days in jail because of contempt, because after the judge, probably by next week, will throw out his motion, dismiss the partial default judgment, and he'll clearly schedule a contempt hearing because he already said, you're in contempt. We need to have a hearing on this. And he told him, I want you to appear in person because you're probably not going home that night, is what he told his lawyer, who, by the way, has issued a withdrawal motion. I don't know if you've got that, but his lawyer, who they fundraised for a GoFundMe for $5,000, has now, a couple of days ago, sent to the court a motion to withdraw as counsel for him under Rule 1.16 B4, which, by the way, I said she was going to do in August. I said she was going to do that. Call that one.
Who the fuck gave him $5,000? Like, who saw that story and went, "Oh, I need to support this man"?
I swear to God, I don't know. What I do
think
know
it
is
was one big player that dislikes you? Because I think what it more is, I don't think it's so much that they support Steve. No, I don't think they support Kyle. I think it's more like people dislike you or have a beef with you.
It must have been Peter Thiel.
It was.
I don't know who that is, but yeah, I think it was. I think it was only
he shut down Gawker by funding the campaign against him.
I think it was only a handful of people at best, like 1 or 2 people, because all the names were like made up names, so they were making these fake accounts. But it's funny, they spent $5,000 to get him a lawyer, and all it ended up doing was prolong it to the point where we could determine that the submission of evidence that he had was false by the touch of text edits that Rue found, which I've confirmed, and numerous people have independently confirmed. I wrote a Python program that anybody can go download the Python program. They can run it on the PDF. They can see for themselves. These have been edited. And then when he went to the deposition, my lawyer had asked him about it. Well, what about these touch-up edits? You know, what about Ruf's video? And he's like, well, Ruf's an idiot. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm like, Ruf made $40 million off computers. He knows how to fucking program. This guy's no fucking slouch. Okay, you can tell my lawyer that the guy who's worth $40 million by programming doesn't know what he's fucking doing. Yeah, my lawyer was like, this guy's lying through his teeth from start to finish. And so they grilled him, and he lied under deposition so fucking much is ridiculous. So that's why the judge gave him till 5 o'clock today to turn over that non-existent paperwork. And if he doesn't, then he's going to, one, show that he has no credibility as far as the Rule 4 for the service issue. He'll get denied on his motion. My partial default judgment will stand. He'll get a contempt hearing. That would be minimum 5 days, and that's going straight to the DA for prosecution on those charges. So before it was this, hey, he might go to jail for a couple of days of contempt because he hasn't turned everything over. But it went from a couple of days to he's looking about, I'm guessing, if he gets 3 to 5 years. So I'm happy about
that. See that money? Is there any way that it's likely you'll ever get that money back? No.
Honestly, probably not. But here's the thing. After he gets out of jail, he has to get a job somewhere. And you cannot garnish in North Carolina, but you can actually take money from the accounts. So if we know where he does his banking, if he has a job, the job does direct deposits to the bank, we can garnish that, and we can actually go after any of his assets that he has in his house, wherever he's living, as many times as we want. We can just say, look, sheriff, go out, get all shit, sell it, and we'll do that. I'll do that 3 times a year. I'll spend the money for that 3 times a year for the rest of his fucking life. I have to. It's not a matter of me getting paid back, is he will pay for the shit he's done in the last year and a half. He will be held accountable, especially for the fact that not only did he steal the $60,000 from my fans and $30,000 from me directly, it is that he continually tried to spin bullshit narratives to diminish my honor, my character, that he knew was demonstrably false. Now, it would cost me too much money to go sue him for the defamation, but I'll get it back the other ways, as far as him going to jail for the forgery, the submission of alternate evidence, and the perjury. And am I happy about that? You're goddamn right.
Have you been face to face with him since?
No. The last time the last time I ever even talked to him was in the Death and Non Sequitur show video.
Where's YouTube in all of this? Do they what's the standard at YouTube for giving an account back in a dispute?
See, here's the thing. I have a representative of YouTube because I have a channel significant enough to do so, which is fortunate. But every time I talk to YouTube, they're like, well, the court order is for him to turn it over the channel to you, not for YouTube to, not to for YouTube to. And I'm like, wait a minute here. Here's my argument. I own the channel legally. The court has awarded me the channel. He is right now unlawfully in control of the channel. So why doesn't YouTube just turn it over to me? Because it's not his channel by law. They say they can't do that. So what I'm hoping is one of two things. When the judge does a contempt hearing, that he will send an order to YouTube to send it to turn it over to me. Well, actually, three things. That one, or Kyle is stupid and he deletes the channel, which would be an instant thing from the court to send to YouTube to reinstate it, because deleting a financial data, which is called spoilage, which would, one, give him an additional count felony, and it would turn instantly the channel back to me. So I don't care if he does that. Or third, he can actually turn it over to me on his own and avoid trying a contempt charge. But he has to turn over like 12 things to me, and I don't think he's going to be able to do that for the contempt charge. But yeah, I mean, he's going to jail either way. He's going to prison. There's not, he can't. I don't see any way out of it.
It's weird that YouTube is so.
Charges?
The DA is going to press charges. The judge is going to send. I know for a fact this judge. I've been told by my lawyer he is sending a packet to the DA.
And just really quickly, his previous charges were he breaking an entry into a church and drug possession, but it was a felony drug possession.
No, it was a misdemeanor drug possession. It was turned into a felony when he broke probation, from what I understand.
And he broke probation by breaking into a church and stealing shit.
No, he broke probation by having cocaine.
Okay, and what was the church thing he broke in and did what?
Breaking and entering.
And he stole stuff, just random stuff.
I do not know.
We're not sure. Okay.
Yeah. Again, people that know me, I don't like hypothesizing or theorizing. I only go by the facts, so I don't know. But he's going to be in some substantial debt, and like I said, if the fact that he's looking at 3 to 5 years in prison for this, I'm okay with that. I mean, look, the reality is that show was getting popular. That show would have been one of the biggest shows on YouTube next to Drunken Peasants. And he just, it wasn't even greed, to be honest with you. It was pure narcissism. He was told he was the show. He was told he could do whatever he wanted. He wanted to find a way to get rid of me when I was asking for, hey, where's the money? Where's the books? Where's these finances? So he concocted this weird fucking narrative. Oh, well, Steve never wanted the money. I tried giving him the money. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The annoying thing is if he would have not done that and he would have just gone along for the ride in the normal way and not tried to diddle the money out of from you and from the channel, he probably would have made more in the long run. Right? Would have made more in the long run. T-shirts,
Corona.
Mugs.
We were making $6,000 a month. Yeah.
And that would have gone up during Corona with everyone sat at home. Yep. People would have been watching that shit.
Yeah, we were making fantastic money.
And he killed the golden goose for it's probably, look, I know you can't speculate on what he's done with it, but I reckon he's banged that all up his nose. I reckon
I can either confirm or deny.
Right? No, but it's the sort of thing he would do. He's tempted by the money. He saw it sat there, and he went, "I'm gonna have this now," and then he went through the motions of trying to cover it up. What I like to call distancing. He distanced you from the money.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing. He like I said, my story has been the same from day one. There's no inconsistencies in my story at all. He had told me that he spent the Patreon money, and I was okay with that. I was like, okay, but he said, I have the AdSense money to pay you your half, but I can't get into it because AdSense hasn't cleared it yet. Because if you guys remember back in the day when you first started for AdSense, it was a real pain in the ass to get it. And I know a lot of people went through this problem, so I believe him on this. So he says, there's thousands of dollars in the AdSense, and I'll pay you out of that. Pay you your 50%. Well, months later, it never came to fruition. I'm like, well, hey, where's my money? He's like, oh, well, wait till tax day. And at first they wait till November. Then he's like, wait till tax day. I'm like, okay, tax day comes along, and I'm like, where's the money? Oh, I'll get you the the CPA information. Never did. By the way, I actually have the CPA information. I know her now, and she never worked for him. He was asking her information, but he never gave her any money to actually handle. I know who she is now, and she is like telling me all kinds of information about Kyle that I did not know before, which I'll put on my channel. But yeah, he lied about all that. Absolutely lied. But yeah, he didn't know what to do. He spent the money, and I was like, all he had to do was say, "Look, I spent the money. I'll figure a way to pay you back, and we'll just continue on." And you know what? I wouldn't have fucking give a shit. It was really cool about it. I don't know why he felt the need to try to cover that up. But what I think what happened was he wanted control. He was told by prominent atheists in the community, I'm not going to get into names, but prominent atheists in the community, that the channel, he should do the channel alone. And then when he removed it from the channel, 8,000 people said, "Fuck you." They're like, "No, we're not here for you. We're here for Steve."
Oh yeah, he was boring as paint. He was just, I don't know if that's even a phrase, but he really was just, I don't know what he was. I thought he was like the producer. I thought he was just pushing the buttons in the background, and he had an elaborate.
Was the producer. No, and it's the fun. And I told him, I was like, you don't want to do this. I was like, this is not going to go as well as you think it's going to go, because I know my demographics. I know that I brought most of the audience to the show. I mean, I was the one that had connections with Aaron Raw, Matt Dillahunty, all the PhDs were on that show. Every one of them. I mean, Mary Schweitzer, Lawrence Krauss I didn't get, but I had connections to the person who got Lawrence Krauss. But I was like, you're really making a huge mistake here. And Reds, if you remember, told him, you sure want to do this. And what was Kyle's response to him? Bad move, buddy. It was a bad move, but it was a bad move on his part. Because my show has been doing very successfully. I've been doing very well. I have 4 shows now. And where's he at? He's looking at prison. I think I've done okay, right, X?
The only thing he could possibly do is go to prison for a bit and come out and do one of these prison blogs that are quite popular.
I don't think he can save himself, because he already tried to run the narrative, oh, mea culpa. Because when you remember when he was on Unirock's channel, he was like, "Oh, well, I lied about having a lawyer. I lied about having a CPA. Please forgive me." And he came up with this song and dance routine. Then they did a GoFundMe for him to get an actual lawyer who now has issued a withdrawal.
He probably spent that money on like something dumb.
Again, neither confirm nor deny.
Pomade.
He's already done that mea culpa thing. So if he gets out of prison, or if he comes back to the community going, "Well, yes, I lied," blah, blah. I'm like, but where's the money?
I don't know if you're aware of the prison content on YouTube, but it's quite popular. But there's not really someone who's taking it from a gay angle. So there's very tough white guys who are like, "This is how you get whored in prison, and this is how you respect each other, and this is what you do when you come and show your paperwork." But there's no one that's really like taking it from the, "I'm a gay man," but that's the only thing he could do. A gay atheist in prison blog. And I'd watch it, but that's only because that would be a topic you could probably talk on with some confidence.
But what about his ethical standards? I mean, here's a guy who, and people were, I had somebody on one of my videos the other day. They said, "Well, Steve, don't you think Kyle should get paid for his artwork?" I'm like, the motherfucker stole $60,000. How much more compensation do you want? I was like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?"
His artwork? What was his artwork? The well-crafted T-shirts on Teespring with the spelling mistakes?
Which,
Twin Towers
which, by the way, the Teespring was my idea, by the way.
Yeah, but you weren't fucking up the designs.
No, I didn't fuck with the designs. I had input on him. He fucked them up, but it was my idea to do the designs, which but the Teespring, by the way, which I have an email saying that it was going to be split 100%. It's going to be 50-50. So he said, "No, I'm taking 100% of it." I'm like, if you watch the Death of Non Sequitur show, I'm like, "Wait, bullshit." I was like, "Wait a minute. You're taking 100% of the Teespring? When I'm the one that gave you the idea for the Teespring, we decided to split it 50-50 because it was my idea, and I gave you some of the ideas behind of it." He is an arrogant, narcissistic motherfucker, man. I mean, that blew me the fuck away, because I have it literally in my emails talking about the Teespring, saying, "Hey, look, I think we should do this Teespring. Here's some ideas of it." And he's like, "Yeah, I love it. We'll split it like we do the show." And then the Non Sequitur show, video, the Death of Non Sequitur show, he's like, "No, I'm taking 100% of it." I'm like, "Oh, Really?
Moving forward, who can you trust with your new channel? Like Reds is obviously he's quite a stand-up guy. You've known him for a long time, but are you reluctant to get into sort of any sort of partnership now with anyone?
No,
Like,
I'm not.
but
I'm
it's
not.
hard to do it all on your own. It's hard.
I'm not reluctant. Not at all. Here's the thing. Reds, I'll give a kidney to. I love him like a brother. Um, Ruhif, love him like a brother. Cheshire, love her. But we're going to be doing the way we're going to be structuring the non sequitur show once we get it back. We've already worked it out between myself, Cheshire, and Bull. We have a profit sharing thing that we all agree would be beneficial to us all, and we're going to go with that. That's simple. It's very simple.
Can you get any advertisers on board, like Shadow Raid Legends?
I tell you what, though, I got to admit to you, Joe, and don't ever hold this against me, okay? But I got to tell you, the episode that you had, when you were talking about indeterminacy and free will, I thought you did a stellar motherfucking job. But Kyle and a few other
I
people
don't think he liked it.
didn't know what the fuck you were talking about.
Oh, he had no. Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle's retarded though. That's the
I
problem.
thought he liked me because of the Dark Dawkins troll stuff. He thought that I would. He thought I was like.
Pissing me off because
wanted to kiss you on your bum.
But he kept. But he was just like shitting on Joe because he was like, "Oh, he's just talking nonsense." I'm like, "No, Joe's making a coherent, cogent argument based upon indeterminacy, based upon the very simple premise of cerebral parabus."
Carl was just thinking. Carl was just constantly checking to see how his hair was coiffed in the fucking stream. So put a bit more pomade in that.
Can I be honest with you, Ray? Kyle is not too smart.
Carl was a dumb fuck.
I don't think anyone.
I don't even care about even before all the legal stuff happened, I remember trying to watch it and going, why is he taking up that much retail space on the screen?
He thought it was a show because he got with me because he knew my connections in my not gonna say my education, but my I read a lot about it.
So there was a comment that was made about him on one of the videos, and it was still one of the funniest things. Now I don't know who said it. Was it JHC that said it, or was it someone else from the community that said it, or was it a random?
I don't want to ruin it because you get to punchline, but there's one comment to like your.
Tell me.
It's so funny. It's very simple. It's not.
It may be, but they're watching and they called him a Hunger Games looking.
Yeah, that Hunger Games guy is a dick. That was a comment.
Yeah, he's something like, and the thing is, you have to have watched Hunger Games. And you have to know about their stupid. You have to know who he means. Like
That's fucking hilarious.
Hunger Games.
It pissed me off because I know it only took him 5 minutes to make a thumbnail. It was not no major project. Okay, I literally had said before a couple times, hey, we need a thumbnail for this episode. He makes a thumbnail 5 fucking minutes. Do you know how many goddamn days I fucking reread the Something from Nothing by Lawrence Krauss? So when Lawrence Krauss
making notes.
Yeah, I mean, him and I had a discussion on the no boundary proposal by fucking Hawking. I mean, it's like we're sitting there talking about fucking nuances of quantum level energies and talking about no free lunch and no boundary proposal. And Kyle's just sitting there going,
dressed like Prince.
I'm like, really? I'm like, fuck, dude.
Like, yeah, you were dressed for the occasion, Kyle. Come on, put a clean shirt on. You don't need to fucking 3-piece fucking magician.
Do you know what would have happened if Kyle would have talked to Lawrence Krauss about Hartley Hawking states? Come on, that would have been fucking hilarious.
Yeah, Kyle's got decks of cards all amongst his vests, so he can pull them out. You can ring in a cooler. Yeah, there was another comment once about Rev J News. It was in Nadia's, and someone just said they came in the room and they said, "Shut up, you John Holmes looking motherfucker." No, Jonathan Davis looking motherfucker, which is the lead singer from Korn, and that killed me.
John Holmes would have been better, but yeah. No, it just pissed me off because I spent days. He's like, "Oh well, what did Steve do?" I'm like, "Oh, maybe I actually learned about the topic so I can talk about it with the guest. Oh, maybe I actually booked the guest." Because I did all the guests for like the entire time until the end. And then he started having these shit fucking guests, and then he started having these shit fucking co-hosts, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're destroying the goddamn show with these pieces of shit. Your shows are boring, man. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. I'm not trying to be demeaning or I know it sounds kind of egotist, but it's not. he sucked on his own.
Yeah, I think
sometimes it's useful having someone that isn't as versed in the topic, because what you can use them is you can use them as the tool for the everyman, right? Because you need to right defer to well, and Carl must, I mean, I couldn't stand watching him, so I'd never watch it, but he could play the role of, oh well, I don't so what do you mean by that? And then that takes the onus off of making someone sound dumb, because it's explaining to the audience, you know what I mean? When they can relate to someone that doesn't get it, and that's what it's good for. But I don't think he played that role. I think he just played the role of someone that looked at the camera a lot.
Yes, no, I agree with you. And matter of fact, it really pissed me off when he would try to instigate things. And for example, like this was a lot deeper than it appeared on the surface of the show. His whole doubt is a virtue. It sounds very simplistic, but a Joe could probably tell you there's so many epistemic issues with that. And he used to kind of needle me with it. And it's like, dude, this is my jam. I like epistemology. And when you're sitting there and you're telling people, thousands of fucking viewers, you know, we have like 2,000 people watching, millions of fucking views on our videos, and he's telling something that I know is wrong, I have an issue with this. Just like I would if it's science, right? If Joe came on my show and Joe said, hey, look, you know, the Earth is 6,000 years old, and that's a fact, I'm going to have a problem with it, right? But he was giving out gross misinformation about epistemology, not because he knew fuck all about it, but because he knew that it was one of my pet peeves. And it was really debilitating to the show, because it's like, why are you trying to do this? Because you know I'm going to try to correct you. I know more of this topic than you do. And
yeah, halfway through my debate, like, you guys kind of got into, like, I'm like, oh, there's some deep. This is the first time they got mad at each other about this, but it was annoying when he just kind of went, oh, this is just, see, it's just a word game.
Right. And I was pissed
like,
because you were making sense, and I understood your argument because I know your argument. I knew it before. But I was like, for fuck's sake, dude, stop this. We have a show that's supposed to be, you know, educational, and you're looking like a fucking idiot just because you don't understand somebody who knows what the fuck they're talking about, like Joe did. And it pissed me the fuck off.